Springfield, Georgia, about this historical tipping point we're
Cheryl,
at right now.
Cheryl Lowry.
First, thank you for having me, and thank you for those kind words about my father, about both of my parents, who were so engaged in this lane. He'd have some articulate and powerful words, poetic words, as we know, to make us really grasp the gravity of this moment and the tipping, as you keep calling it, for what can happen because of Georgia, his beloved Georgia. And so I think that he would have incredible things to say. But one of the things I have to say is that when we established the Institute in 2001, one of the things he was real serious about as it related to civic engagement was that we put across the message that if you don't vote once, you're not a one and done. You vote in every election.
Right.
It was
Keep it
practically
going.
sacrilegious to him, to not vote. It was not just your civic duty. It was a moral and ethical question for him. And so he couldn't understand how people wouldn't vote, not just because of the lives that people, they gave their lives for us to have the opportunity to vote, but also just common sense in terms of wanting a governance and to wanting to understand where your services were coming from and what services you would get and whether they were equitable. So I think he would bring it back to the basic, which is you need to vote in every election, but that this one is critical and that we need to get out there, that we need to grab our posse, grab our squad, grab our friends, and make sure that everyone goes back because we didn't finish the job.
And what's the work that the Lowry Institute's doing now that you're carrying on from your dad?
So we've got several pillars, but to just be specific about civic engagement, our job is to take the advocacy of my parents to a new generation, and civic engagement is a huge piece of that. Giving them the power and the tools to lead because they know better than we do how to reach their own peers and what things are relevant to them. Giving them that opportunity and power has been interesting. A couple of years ago, one of our student leaders was in the process of making sure that using her cell phone to make sure that people went to my vote and said, okay, here's how you find out if you're registered, blah blah blah. And in the course of that, one day she was 30. That life lesson for those kids was incredible, and I see the fire in their belly as a result of things that they've seen. We got Secretary of State and People's Agenda, shout out to Helen Butler, and the People's Agenda on the line, and got that straightened away. But I'm just so encouraged right now by millennial and Gen Zs. They have fire in their belly. They created the Lowry Institute, a program called Sunday Supper Series, which actually Merle from OWN was on a few weeks ago, where they are talking about issues that are relevant to them, and they are putting it out there in terms of canvassing and making sure that they get back out to vote. Again, we didn't finish the job, so we got to go get it.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm
Wonderful to
excited
see
to
you.
meet Jaleel Cooper. Jaleel, I hear that you are a high school senior in Atlanta and you turned 18 in October, registered to vote, voted for the first time in your life in November. How did it feel?
It felt riveting. I mean, we all know that this was an historical election cycle, and I mean, my first time stepping in the polls, even though it was just a local